Welcome to Love Them Knives channel. LTK here. Want to talk about the steel Will Lanner knives right after this. What do you think? I like these steel Will Lanner knives. These came out for the 2019 year. Saw them at the 2019 SHOT Show when I visited with Paulina. You can take a look at that video that I did at the SHOT Show going through, and they had the Plague Doctor there. They also had this brand new green Cutjack that's made in Italy, M390 bearings, all that. This comes in two sizes. The previous year they had this in blue and black. Comes in two sizes as well, a smaller, a larger. This is the larger 3.5-inch blade, etc. Now this Lanner coming out, and really take a look at it compared to, of course, I believe new for this year as well, is the larger Cutjack that's made in China, no bearings, it's washers as well as these are, but this came out in blue now. So there you go. And they look somewhat similar, I guess, and we could argue about that, but they both look very ergonomically friendly, I think is what I'm trying to get across. Pocket clips look very similar. Tip up, right hand or left hand carry here. These are liner locks, steel liners that are embedded in the scales. Okay, so they don't show through the scales like the Italian version here has G10 scales, but these liners are stacked on top of that scale. They're not embedded in the liner inside, so they're not hidden away. 6 and 1/2 dozen the other, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. I kind of do like when the liners show, and I don't know why, but it feels more solid to me. Maybe it's just that it's adding a little bit of weight or something. I don't know what I'm getting out of that, but it does appeal to me a little bit more. In any case, whatever. But they do seem a bit similar, and they look like they would be a good all-around cutting option. This, a little bit more of a piercing tip than this. A little bit different grind here, somewhat. And, you know, here you've got a thumb ramp to a degree, or a little depression here, and then up with jimping. Here, right off the bat, you're kind of elevating with some jimping as well. Of course, they don't have the action, or this one is specifically, I haven't really messed with it much, but yeah, I think over time these bronze washers get a little bit more smooth, more smooth. They're, you know, you can get a drop off of bronze washers, and there's people that argue that I'd rather have is a working knife, as a budget-oriented working knife. I'd rather not have the bearings, because bearings, you know, can trap a lot of debris, pocket lint, and other kinds of things in the environment in there, where the washers are flat against, of course, the surface, and therefore you're not going to get any debris between the washer, the blade, and the steel liner. Okay, you can get debris everywhere else, and you can clean it out, whatever. So don't know. There's just those that prefer washers for a working type knife, and I get that. Myself, I guess I would prefer bearings, because it becomes as much of a fidget toy as it does a working knife in many instances, where I'm not using it for cutting, but it's in my pocket and it's something I pull out just to, everybody's got or used to have at least fidget tools, stress ball on their desk or whatever, because it's just that kind of thing. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with it also doubling as just something that you do because you're bored or passing the time, whatever. So in any case, large and small, 7.5 inches overall, or 7.6. This is 8.6 overall. We can put the tape to them. We could compare them, which we just did, with their counterparts. This is 3.5-inch blade. I think about 8 inches overall. So it's a little bit smaller than this, but it's bigger than this. Okay? And if you want something that's a little bit more familiar, we can take something like the Paramilitary 2, which I think some people are getting a little burned out on me using it for size comparison, but it's so kind of in the standard knife world arsenal here and there. There you go. Bigger than the PM2, the Lanner is, and flip it. Check it out. Also, if you want to get off of that formula, how about the Recon 1, which is a big knife. That's just no two ways about it. It's over 9 inches, so it's a big boy. Absolutely. So it's all relative, isn't it? A little bit of information. I mean, White Mountain Knives, and where'd I just throw my other Lanner? You know, it's $59. Use your LTK discount for 10% off. They come and they go in and out of stock. So the F35 is this one here, which is an 01. Hold on, let me throw that whole F35 M01. Okay, the larger one here is the F35 33. Okay, OD green in G10 and a black stonewash blade. Now, only a little bit more money for the other one, which is $63. Okay, and there's your stats on the bigger one. 8.6 overall, 3.75. Throw everything all over the table, knock things down. It's the way we roll around here. Any case, let's see if we can get the tape on here. Come on, man. Seriously. Wow, we're working today. 3.2 inches and 7.5 overall. You know, as opposed to 3.75. Let's roll off the tip of that blade, why don't we? Close to 3.75, depending on where you want to measure. And so that's about 95, 96 millimeter blade length, and overall it's over 8.5, so 8.6 you want to call it, that's fine, and a bit over 21.5 centimeters, not quite to 22. Now, one of the things that might be of interest to you, let's see if I can zero out my little micrometer, might be the width, and there's 13 millimeters. So this is 0.51, pretty standard fare there. Let's see if this is actually thinner or the same. Not much difference, 0.488. And we'll go to millimeters here, 12.3. Blade stock, 3 millimeters. And if you want to look at that in inches, I don't know if anybody does inches on that anymore, but 0.117. Here, blade stock, 0.135, so obviously that's a 3.5 millimeter blade stock. So thicker blade stock, thinner blade stock, longer, shorter. Can't get this in stonewash or satin. That's too bad. Are they going to make these in Italy? I don't know. I think it'd be a great idea, because I think I would really like to have one of these with either a stonewash or satin blade, M390 bearings, that kind of thing. And maybe some other color choices, although I don't mind the OD green. Aluminum backspacers, got, traction here. Like I said, jimping here on this ramp, jimping here on this as well, and traction here on this aluminum backspacer. I'll show you the picture of it disassembled here in a minute. Steel liner. There's your lockup. That's at least 50%. Try this. That's, well, it's hard to tell until you look around the camera. That's up almost 35 to 40% there. And you can see you don't have any liner on the top here. Okay, but you got reinforcement in there. Let me grab my picture after I knocked everything off over on the table. And then I can show you also the results of the testing that we did from the PMI scan, the HRC Rockwell testing. Here you go. So the green one's the one I disassembled. Here's your bronze washers. Obviously, this is the lock bar here. Here you do not have a steel liner, so they did not put one in here. So, of course, then they've got to put something in here to support all this, front and back. So they did strategically put that in. Interesting, huh? Nothing terribly difficult here, complex, or anything like that. Internal blade stop. All right, and, oh, by the way, we did, like I said, the small one here, I sent it into Pennsylvania to our testing facility. There's the HRC mark on this one, so I sent this one. They're both D2 blades, the large and the small. In any case, the HRC was 57.5, and I believe Blade Banter, of course, I'll give you the link to the spreadsheet that Blade Banter has made for all the people that send knives in to get tested to Kurt, our testing guy, or anybody who may be submitting numbers to us of their own independent testing. But we put them on the spreadsheet, but Kurt does all my testing and most of the testing for everybody else as well. So here it is. Yes, the D2 is real D2. Obviously, they have that in their software suite of the kinds of materials they work with at that particular shop. The HRC being 57.5, and I believe, and here's your elements here, I believe that Blade Banter has determined that a 55 or 56, somewhere like that, up to 62 is the proper heat treat or the acceptable HRC for D2. So this will probably be in our green range, even though this may be a little lower number than what you might want on your knife. To me, I'm not concerned about this. This will be fine, and it'll sharpen up, and it'll be good. Will it be as optimum, if you really want to start picking nits? Well, what's the difference in the performance between a 61 HRC and a 58 or 57.5? I don't know. I don't really operate in that world where I'm taking a folding pocket knife and cutting so many hundreds of yards of cardboard and comparing and like, oh, I can't have this knife because it did 20 foot less before it wouldn't cut paper. So that's just not my deal. I use them until they need to be sharpened, and then I sharpen them. And the easier, the better for me. When I start getting into the super steels like this, I ain't doing this. I'm sending this to Kevin Lewis, my knife sharpening guy up in New Hampshire, because I ain't doing this. I've done M390, and I'm done with sharpening M390. I just, my shoulder gets sore, my arm. It's just, that's why some of these guys that sharpen knives, not Kevin, I don't believe, but some charge more for sharpening super steels because they are much more difficult. Now, they don't dull as quick, but, there's that school of guys that really know how to sharpen knives and strop knives and everything, so they don't care. They just as soon have a steel that they can field sharpen, and so there you go. In any case, I'm done with my diatribe on that. But just saying, these are centered. I don't have any lock, rock, or blade play with these. And no, this one came apart and went back together just fine and dandy. So the ergos, I really like on these. I mean, that's probably what I should have started this whole thing out with, is the ergos. The ergos are good. They're good. It's really good in the hand. It's fairly slender, not overly slender, but, and I really like this choil going to a palm swell coming out here, but not getting thin, you know, still kind of filling out and giving you some height in that handle to give you some room to really get good purchase, and you can. And if you want to go forward in here to do a little bit more exact controlled cutting, you can. Both these knives I really like. I like the ergos on it. This one's nice as well. Smaller, lighter. And if you didn't see the stats when I was flashing the paper in front of you, which I didn't pay much attention to either, so let me throw them on the scale here. So 3.2 ounces and 91, 92 grams. 130. So 4.6. So an extra 1.4 ounces for this big dog. Thicker blade stock, longer by an inch. But the ergos, the weight is within good reason. I find them to be comfortable. I find them to be very similar to the Cutjack, although this is an FRN type scale and this is G10. So there's a difference there. Kind of favor the G10 myself, obviously. I think that goes without saying. But, you know, they both are very usable knives. They make a lot of sense in their design, and hopefully they function well, you know. And I think they do, in my experience. Don't know about you, but I've heard from a lot of guys who've bought the Cutjack and really, really like it. So I'm thinking this Lanner will produce the same result as far as people really being happy with it. And you know what? Overall, I'm kind of digging the Lanner overall design over the Cutjack. So if this was an Italian version with M390 and bearings, and I could get a, you know, a satin grind or at least a stone wash, I would really like that. That would be really cool. So hopefully they'll do that, because yes, I really like the Italian stuff. And the Chinese stuff, well, this is way more affordable. Detent, pretty appropriate, I think. Snaps right out. Yeah, snaps right out. Yeah, my detent scale, you know, it runs anywhere. I think I've had something as low as maybe a 3.5 on the detent scale. This feels like a softer detent. See, I can fail this one. Yeah. I tried to fail this one, and it wasn't failing on me. I think they vary, though, a bit from model to, I mean, from unit to unit. So I couldn't guarantee that every large Lanner is going to be a stronger detent than the smaller one. But it's just worked out that way for me. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But, I mean, just give it a little confidence, push, and it comes out. So it's more like a light switch for me than for a push button. So great knives. Appropriate detent, probably 4.8 for this one and 5.8 for this one. But your experience may vary. Make your comments below. Let me know what you think about these knives. I like the design. I think they make a lot of sense. And I was wishing that I could get this in a satin. Maybe they'll do them in Italian. I don't know. All right, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Take care. You know what we do around here. We love them knives, so you guys stay sharp.